Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Pre-Market Info.
Market's got a little rally going on here, Joel. Cyprus bailout here over the weekend.
Yep, trading right at the high of the move. 1558 was the high of the move. We hit 1560.50 in the pre-market. Key level to keep an eye on very early in the session. See if we can maintain the momentum.
Yeah, so overall, the insured accounts under 100,000 euros, they're going to get their money. The depositors under 100,000. Depositors over 100,000 in jeopardy of losing 30 to 70% of their deposits. So if you're under 100,000 euros in those accounts, I guess you're happy. If you're over 100,000, I'd be pretty ticked off. Like, I don't know really how this puts confidence into the whole system. I mean, when you're punishing the big money and the big depositors over there.
Did they open the banks over there yet? I
don't
know
know.
they were.
I don't know if they've actually got them. They
yeah,
must
I
have.
bet you.
Yeah.
I bet you there's going to be a little line up there at the bank over there in Cyprus.
Well, it's just
today.
I don't know how the markets see this news. Okay, well, you don't have to. These banks aren't going to go bankrupt, so I guess that's good news. But I mean, when you're screwing over those large depositors over there, I don't see how it's good to put confidence in the whole financial system. I mean, if I had my money over in some small European bank right now, I'd probably pull it. I'd probably be like, well, I don't trust any of these, banks here, especially if I had, over 100,000 euros over there.
If you could pull it.
Well, and so all the other banks you can still. So I just don't know how this puts confidence in the overall system. But the market, don't lie, it's up 6 points. So I guess you just got to go with what everybody else is saying, and it's moving up here this morning. So I guess that's how we got to trade it. Financials are going to be stronger in the pre-market here. You've got all your U.S. financials. Obviously, your European financials are trading higher, which I don't really get, but they are. But Citigroup is trading up here this morning, Joel. You got Goldman Sachs trading up here this morning. You got Morgan Stanley. All these financials here are trading quite a bit higher this morning.
Yeah, maybe they don't have that much money in Cyprus banks or have that much exposure to them. Let's take a look at Citigroup here. Up pretty good here, up 54 cents. Hit a high in the pre-market just above 45.80. We hit 45.81. Let's look at in the context of the daily chart here. Found major support at 45 here last couple days. Double bottom coincides with that old top there. You really can't say there's a whole lot in here. Maybe some paper stacking up at 46 for people that are looking to sound a little bit of strength. But the major resistance, if you absolutely have to short the stock or looking for a place, you do have a double top in place at 46.45 and 46.46. That's the highs from Wednesday and Thursday.
Goldman Sachs up here $1.40 this morning too. 148.01 is where it's just ticked to. Just a moment ago here. Actually, it was trading up at 148.50 a few moments ago too. You can see the big breakdown day that we had 2 days ago, and now the stock's getting most of that back. You think that big 150 number though looks like a big psychological number to me?
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is an ugly couple days here. We made some lows, we rebounded over the 155. We made some lows again at the 145. This 145 area is just huge here. Basically a double bottom, and now you're coming back. You have the high on Thursday at 150.22, so that's still a ways away from here. But this diet's starting to look tired. But last time I said a chart looked tired, Procter & Gamble went up 2.5 points.
We got news on the Dell front here, Joel. I should actually give you some props here because you've been saying, this looks like, a no-risk buy down here. And, well, it's up 50 cents this morning. You've got a couple bids. Blackstone bidding 14 and a quarter. Dell, or Icon coming in bidding $15 for it. But you can see the stock's only trading 14.63. These Icon bids, and the market never puts, a lot of weight sometimes into these things, because if they really thought Icon was coming and buying the company for 15, it would be trading at 15. It's only trading at 14.62, so obviously they're a little bit nervous. It's not a bid for the entire company either. It's kind of weird. So I mean, the market's up and the market's liking it, but they're not liking it to the tune of $15.
Yeah, that guy is tricky. You gotta watch him. I mean, obviously $15. No one is a believer in that. 14.65 is what it's hit in the pre-market. He's just out there wreaking havoc. I mean,
that's what he does. He wreaks havoc.
and he makes money doing
He
it. So I
does.
mean, it's not a bad way to wreak havoc. I guess you got to use this high in the pre-market is 1465. Also that $15 level, obviously where he's targeted. And then after things got quiet at the end of last week, you found major support of 14, but doesn't look like we're going to go back down to that area.
Wanted to highlight Apple here this morning. I'll give you some props, Joel. You've been all over the Apple call. You've been bullish the thing. You were saying if it stays above 450, it looks good. 2 days ago, held the 450 level again here. If you bring up the chart just from the last few days, we are breaking out here again this morning, trading up at 465.76. Stock up another $3.85. So looking good for Apple bulls.
Yeah, last week when they were pounding the market early in the week on the Cyprus fears, Apple just did not really shrug. Barely traded under 450.
Yeah.
Closed right near the high of the day here. So we will now use that 462 level as supported. Believe it or not, we're trading $4 above that. So if you if you're tempted to short this thing off the open, it comes back into the close or the high. You have to use that as support. Looking at the pre-market activity, we did get a little bit higher in the session. Got up to 467, nice round number, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that. But I'm not really seeing major resistance. You have a series of highs. Let's look at the daily real quick. I mean, there's got to be an area of resistance with these three highs here, 470.16, 471.64, and 473.64. But Apple's looking good. I bought that iPhone, and it's been nothing but up.
Yeah, you started the rally there, Joel. You bought the iPhone. The stock was around 420s and change, and straight up since you bought that iPhone. Google here, money actually not going into Google as it's going into Apple. If you look at the spread between these two stocks, it's actually now 300 and what would it be? About $350, something like that, this morning. Where before, just going back 2 weeks ago, it was 420. So that spread's coming 70 points here with the rally in Apple and the slight sell-off in Google.
Right. I'm anxious to get your opinion on this, Dennis, because, being Mr. Perma Bull over there,
Okay.
you make pretty good calls. But here, you have the run-up over 844. You take a haircut just over 800. And now you've had 6 days where you've been trading between 800 and 820 with like a 5-point range for Google on Friday. So is this one of your consolidations to move higher to go up to the 850 level?
I don't know. I'm somewhat nervous here. 800 would be my bogey on it. That low there that you had was about 801 there. If it takes out the $800 level, it starts to drift down here again. I'm nervous. I just think money is flowing more into Apple now than it is to Google. As much as Google was in favor before, Apple was out of favor, the course is kind of reversed here. Now, that can change again, but short term right now, money is more in favor of going into a stock like Apple than it is to Google. And these two stocks have been battling each other for the capital here. You can just see that over the course of the last 6 months. It seems like these stocks go in opposite directions. So as Apple rallies here, Google's up a couple bucks here this morning, but I'm nervous. I'm nervous from a long perspective on a stock like Google here, just because you've had a big down move from the highs. You've had some consolidation here. I'd say as long as it stays above 800, you could still make a bullish argument here. Below 800, and I don't really like it as much.
Right. I mean, and even I know 800, 820 is pretty big parameters for our traders to play in. But even if you look over the last 3 days of last week, 809, 64, and 85 were the lows on Thursday and Friday, and we've only been able to get up to 1751 on the upside. So it's basically 3 days of a 8-point range in Google. Something's going to happen.
Something is definitely going to happen. Dollar General, something's happening on that stock this morning. It's beat 97 cents versus estimates of 90. Stock trading up over $2 here now, breaking out to new high on the move here too. Going out to the weeklies here. This is looking like a 2-month or actually about a 5-month high here, Joel, on the Dollar General.
Right. Well, I'm just gonna bite my tongue here after being skeptical of the Nike move on Friday. I mean, once these stocks get going in one direction, it's pretty hard to pick a top. That doesn't mean I'm not going to, but 52.40 is what we've hit in the pre-market. Going up to the weeklies here, you did find some resistance over the $52 level at 52.45. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then the high in the day before that was 53.35. So this is one where you want to keep an eye on, where it's trading at 925, 926, and it can't hold that opening print, it's going to take off. But that Nike, I think it opened up at
It opened
was
up
it
high and went higher, and they've been doing that lately. You got to just know what the environment is right now, and obviously it's been, we've been on this huge bull run. Everybody's looking for stocks, and money flows in, and sometimes these things open up and money continues to come into them. And if you look at that Nike chart, it opened high and just kept running higher. So it is important to watch the initial move. Watch what happens off the hop. The thing starts out, opens low, runs up 50, 70 cents. Then you're thinking, oh, well, it's probably, going to continue with some of the strength, so then I'm maybe a buyer of a pullback. So a stock like this could do a similar thing. This thing could run to $53, $54. It has that capability. Not saying it's going to do that, but it can do that. So you've got to just be careful when you're trying to short these rocket ships, because sometimes they just keep flying. Apollo Group here, AAPL, reported earnings this morning, and it is flying as well. Stock's up $1.79, up 10% right now. They beat 34 cents versus estimates of 18. That's what I got right now. Wow. If that's the right numbers, that's a huge beat. This is a stock that's been basically thrown out. A lot of these education stocks, besides DeVry, if you look at like ESI and stuff, have been left for dead. Well, here's a stock that's getting back a lot of its losses from the last couple of months.
Yeah, 1918 is what we hit in the pre-market, trading under the $19 level. This stock has been getting really beat up. You have to go all the way to going back into February to find some resistance in this. You had a high on February 21st in 1934. So I'll keep an eye on that, and then you go up a little bit higher in that, 1946 and 49. Those are areas of resistance. But I mean, if you look at this stock on a little bit of a longer term period, it's really coming back. So if you're itching to short this thing off the hop, it'd wait, because it's got a lot of real estate.
Oh, these things have all been killed. All these education stocks have been absolutely annihilated here. Bring up a chart of ESI if you want to see one that's been annihilated, Joel. That's ITT Educational Services. Look at this. This was $90 a year ago. It's $13 now. But if you bring up the short-term chart, just change to a short-term chart, you can see here it's put in some nice base here at the bottom. Can you bring up to a daily there, just so we can see a little more detail there? Yeah, look at this base that's formed here at the bottom in the $12.50, $13. Remember, like a chart like Best Buy, that's what it did for about a month there, and then obviously started to retract and start to get the gains back. This could start something in ESI. This could really start something with these good earnings out of Apollo Group. See, Best Buy was a similar type of thing. Lots of base, basically a month traded down near the lows and then just took off. I'm not saying it's going to do the same thing, but this is what can happen. If you go back to that ESI chart, though, we put in this nice base, and it is trading up here this morning and bid up at 1370 right now. So you're going to see a breakout here maybe on the ESI here this morning.
Right, and here's another one in the sector that Mark is bringing to our attention. Strayer Education, and boy, if you want to look at some resistance in this thing, whew, someone was out there at the 5250, 5260 level. So if this thing breaks above there, you got a lot of room on the upside.
Then you can also look. DeVry is one that's bucked the trend. DV has actually really taken off here. It had a great earnings report about 3 months ago. Has not looked back. It has just taken off here.
So everyone is quitting those other.
They're all thrown into DeVry, I guess. So.
Yeah, going into DeVry. But be careful. You can always get schooled trading these stocks.
Joel's always good for a pun. BlackBerry getting downgraded at Goldman Sachs here this morning. BBRY, after breaking out over 16, had a tough day on Friday. It's having a tougher morning here on Monday. Quickly giving back all those gains that it had made. And actually now it's looking, doesn't look very good.
Yeah, BlackBerry here got under 14, 13.86 in the pre-market. Buyers up their bids to the $14 level, just underneath that, $13.90, $13.92. So calling that 13.90 area, that would be good support there, 30 cents away. Has traded 1 million shares, so you can't sneeze at that. And then look at that. You go to the dailies, you got a low at 14.04. And then you also had a low at 14.11. So BlackBerry, see if it could shrug off the Goldman Sachs downgrade if in fact it could hold 14. But if not, that 13
Look
handle.
at the volume too, Joel.
Yeah,
1.1 million shares already traded here this morning. This is on heavy, heavy, heavy volume. So this
well,
move is,
Goldman Sachs,
yeah.
it's a big stick.
Oh, and they listen to it, obviously. You know, they listen to Goldman Sachs more than anyone else. And when Goldman Sachs doesn't like a stock, it can sometimes stay ugly for a little while. So I don't think this one just bounces back here today. But at the same time, that $14 number does look big to me. So if you're just playing by the numbers, which we often do, that's a number to keep in mind for sure. You were talking about J.C. Penney here, Joel. It's trading down here a little bit. What's the headline there on J.C. Penney? Do you got it in front of you?
Just that there's kind of a tenor that even if they do go to the REIT status, that it's not really going to affect it much. So did get just getting beat up right now. I mean, these stocks have such a hard time getting off the mat. We dipped under 15.20 in the pre-market to 15.13. Looking at the dailies, I mean, every time this thing gets a bounce, it just gets beaten right back down.
Yeah.
Starting to find support here, though, under the $15 level. Multiple lows at 14.60 and 14.70. The panic low of the move at 14.20. So if you're a bottom fisher in J.C. Penney, you do have some parameters here under $15 to keep an eye on.
Just so scary, like I said, when I went in that store, you know, a few weeks ago back, and you look in there, and it just seems like a ghost town. It doesn't seem like anybody's buying anything. Maybe it was just the store that I was in, but I don't know. I don't like it when I go into stores and you're looking at buying stocks and there's nobody shopping in there. Like I said, I went into the Dillards. The place was a mob scene. Going to the J.C. Penney and it's a ghost town. Same mall. So, something to think about. The Dillards, obviously, that stock, if you look short term, it doesn't look as great. But long term, if you look like over the course of the last couple of years, Dillards has just been on fire. Joel, just moving on here. You want to talk about Microsoft. You were saying, again, this whole 2830 area. We've talked about this area, I feel like, for the last 2-3 months here. Yeah, it's just this Microsoft. This 2830 area has just been major resistance for this stock for so long. It's cut through it a couple of times on a couple different occasions. But if you look back, basically back into January, February, March, you have multiple highs all in the 2830 area. We did cut through there a few days ago, got as high as 2850, but we still seem to struggle in this whole 28. We keep getting pulled back. It's like this magnet. This 2830 is just like a magnet for the stock, like the 55 and Lilly. This Microsoft, this 2830, is just like a magnet.
Double top 34 to 36. I think I did see a little bit of news about Sprint perhaps getting some phones that are using Microsoft technology, but a little bit different scenario here. The last few times it snuck over 28, it got beaten right back down, under 27.50. Here it got back over 28. They beat it down one more time. This is when they had the big fine from the European community. But now what you're finding is you hit 28.49 on last week, Wednesday last week, 28.54 high of the move. But now they can't even get it back under 28 here. It's kind of, I guess it would be your tractor beam for a NASDAQ stock here. It's always hard to identify the size here. But you're going to get up, you're going to test that double top as you are here in the pre-market, and you have this level. Or you have to go back a while. I know the date, November 1st. I'm putting it on my numbers, taking it off of my numbers. November 12th, the high at 29.01 would be your next target if you could clear this 28.50 level.
There is a headline here. The Verge is reporting that there's been some leaked screenshots of an early bird of the next, early build of the next version of Windows, dubbed Windows Blue. Indicates Microsoft plans for smaller live tile arrangements, new snap views. So that's maybe going to have a little bit of impact here. Windows Blue getting leaked here a little bit for the next version of Windows, but that's the headline. Overall here, Joel, the Cyprus rally got up to 15.60.50. We're about 3 points off of those highs that we made there overnight. It's starting to drift down a little bit here. What's your take?
people are maybe realizing that a seizure of bank
I
deposits is
know.
not always a favorable sign for the market. Market just made a comment that they're shrugging off the short-term avoidance of calamity, but longer term, this is going to have some kind of effect on the European
I
banks when
just can't see
deposits are
how
going to
it
be.
gives
Yeah.
confidence over there. I just can't see, like I said, and not throwing them all, and they're not obviously all small companies as Cyprus or smallest countries as Cyprus, but I just don't see how the European, they come in and they back out, a seizure of depositors' money over 100,000 euros. That means if something like that happened to a small bank in like Spain or something like that, you could see a similar result where they seize and screw over the large depositors. So I just don't see how that's going to bring capital into their financial system.
Okay, instead of giving everyone big number, a big wide range of numbers to look at, I'm just going to stick to the book here. 1558.75 has been the high of the move. We have slipped under that, so I'm going to call that still major resistance. 1556 has been the high close in the move. That has helped. That stopped the breaks in around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm looking to play those two levels. As long as we hold above 1556, I think we're poised to test this the overnight high 1560 a quarter. Under 1556, I think we'll drift back down and perhaps test the close at 1552.
Well,
Thanks for being in the broadcast this morning, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.